promoting and supporting some of the cornerstones of the American experience. It's all about family, faith, and freedom. Now let's get back to the Curtis Report with your host, Barry Curtis.
Thanks. Hey, welcome back to the Curtis Report. Appreciate you joining us back here. Thanks for you all joining us, no matter how you're joining us, be it iHeartRadio, call letters, whatever station you're listening to, or if you're listening to us via our website, which is thecurtisinitiative.com or thecurtisreport.com. Both of those take you to the same site there, and you can listen to us there on the site, as well as with call letter station you may be listening to us on here in Texas or wherever you're listening to us. We appreciate you being back. Before the break, we were talking about Hillary Clinton, email issues, having the private email server being kept at her home, her handing over specific documents she wants to get out to the State Department, and the State Department handing over to the National Archives or the Benghazi Committee, whoever's subpoenaing them wants this information. So we have all that. And on top of all that, as previously we spoke about, we've got Hillary Clinton personal foundation, the Bill Hillary and Chelsea Clinton Foundation, accepting millions of dollars in donations from foreign countries during the time of Hillary Clinton Secretary of State. The very country she's out there conducting U.S. business over, her personal private organization, the Bill Hillary and Chelsea Clinton Foundation, is accepting millions of dollars from some of those same governments. But here, I'm going to get deeper into this thing. All that aside, and that's all equally horrific, but all that aside, look at some of the countries that the Bill and Hillary and Chelsea Clinton Foundation's accepting money from. And keep in mind, Hillary Clinton touts herself to be a candidate for the women, a women's advocate. In 1995, she went to Beijing and stood in the face, a pretty heroic speech actually, and stood in the face of the communist government in China, and said, China is one of the biggest violators of human rights in the world, and particularly rights of women, but stood in front, and you can see the babies they abort. If you got a female kid in China, you're going to be aborted. They abort female babies 4 times the rate as male kids in China for purposes of they don't want any more kids in China. So they're going to kill the girls, and basically they do. That's a whole other story. But Hillary Clinton stood there in Beijing in 1995, very, very courageously saying that women's rights is a human right. And I agree. I agree with you on that, Hillary. Women's right is a human right. They cannot be separated. However, Hillary, Mrs. Clinton, Madam Secretary, the former senator from the state of New York, the former First Lady. However, Mrs. Clinton, if I can just share with you a little bit here of some of the countries that the Bill Clinton and Hillary and Chelsea Clinton Foundation accepted monies from, are some of the most horrific violators of human rights and the rights of women in the world. And some of those countries, they include Oman, they include the United Arab Emirates, they include the countries of Brunei, Kuwait, Qatar, Algeria. It just goes on and on and on. But you know what it also includes? It also includes the country of Saudi Arabia. And in fact, since 2001, Saudi Arabia has given over $10 million to the Bill, Hillary, and Chelsea Clinton Foundation. $10 million since 2001. This is Saudi Arabia. But if we look a little deeper at the Saudis, look a little deeper of how the Saudis treat women, you're going to find something very interesting. I mean, this is $10 million that the Saudi government is writing checks for to Hillary Clinton's foundation. And this is a woman who touts herself to be the preeminent female candidate. The woman who's going to take the rights of women in this country and around the world and shove it to the forefront and be that leader and that example for women's rights. She's taking money from these horrific Gulf countries who treat their women like second-class citizens. You know, in Saudi Arabia, this is amazing. And some of the obvious things about Saudi Arabia, like women can't drive. They're discouraged from driving. But it goes deeper than that. I mean, and if you want to talk about a war on women, you want to talk about just a blatant disrespect and attack for the sanctity of femalehood, you look at Saudi Arabia. In Saudi Arabia, and this is just really baffling, but Saudi Arabia, restrictions on women goes further than just driving. The government of Saudi Arabia makes women so reliant on men that they're unable to do for themselves what women do for themselves here. Here's how it works in Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia, a woman must have what's called a male guardian. Now, typically, it's their father or brother or husband who has some sort of a legal power over them. It's kind of like a parent having power over a child. And that legal guardian, whether it be a brother, husband, father, whatever that person, wherever that person is in stage in life, and this happens from when they're little kids and they grow up. So nothing happens. They got that male guardian from birth. From birth, it's the father. You know, as they grow up, it's the father and perhaps an older brother or younger brother even. When they get married, of course, it's the husband. It's a male guardian they must have, which makes a determination about everything that person does in life. Everything. From, we're talking about formal permission that she needs to get. Permission to travel, permission to work. This all must come from this male figure, be it father or brother or husband. Permission to travel, work, permission to go to school, even permission for medical treatment. There must be a male guardian who authorizes the treatment of medical equipment for this female. She's depending on him for everything, from housing to money to driving them different places, to go visit friends, go to the store, everything. She is dependent on that male guardian to do. Now, if you want to talk about a war on women, that's a war on women. That's a war on women. And the problem is with this is the women don't have any right of regress. They can't go anywhere because women are dissuaded from talking to any male figure outside of their family, outside of their father or brother or husband. Women, Muslim women or women in Saudi society cannot go up on the street and talk to a male. It's forbidden. It's not part of the social graces of Saudi Arabia. You know, there's a flyer in the 80s, an educational flyer distributed by the Saudi government. It's true. And it was entitled, Dangers That Threaten the Muslim Woman. And it said, such as, and they enumerated these dangers, of course they would, on a flyer. These dangers included listening to music, going to any mixed gender event, doesn't matter what it is. Anything that mixes the female with a male outside of the male guardian, that husband, that brother, that father, anything that mixes anything other than that, they're dissuaded from doing. They considered it to be a damning. Going to the mall, that's a mixed gender event. Going to a soccer game, going to watch camels race. I'm just throwing that out there. They do race camels, but whatever it may be. On the front of this flyer, this educational flyer issued by the Saudi government, on the front of this flyer, it depicted a woman. Now, just keep in mind, this is a flyer talking about these are the things you don't do. Educational flyer, sanctioned by the Saudi government. On the front of this flyer, it depicted a full a photo of a woman in a full black burqa. You know, with the head covering and all the body's covered, a full black burqa being stabbed in the chest with the kitchen knife. Just in case you didn't get the potential dangers, they highlighted it there photographically with a woman in a full black burqa being stabbed in the chest with what looks like a kitchen knife. This is the government that Hillary Clinton accepted at least $10 million from. Hillary Clinton, the preeminent female candidate, the woman who championed women's rights as human rights, $10 million from the Saudi government. A Saudi government who clearly wages war on women. That's Hillary Clinton. We're going to take a break, and we'll be back with more of the Curtis Report in just a moment.